bursting into poetry, do you?
Lower the tone of the House a little bit, please. Just on the subcommittees, Taoiseach, you went through a list of them there. Is that the full list of subcommittees that you went through? Yeah, and did you mention one on waste management? Waste management. Well, I think we're going to need one, because it's less than a month ago that the issue came up in this House of the green bins being charged for the waste that generates profit through recycling, and then it was retracted by the new minister for the responsible for it. I don't think he's called the environmental minister, but he's responsible for it. And now we find that the big cartel companies of Thorntons and Greyhound are doubling and tripling the standing annual charge for households to have their bins collected. So I have emails here from workers in Ballyfermot and Crumlin who have been receiving emails from Greyhound and from Thorntons asking them to pay up 3 times what they had paid previously in the annual standing charge for having their bins collected. And you pay that regardless of whether you ever put out a bin, or when you put out a bin, or what it weighs. So as well as the pay by weight being introduced on the 1st of July, from the 1st of July, these two companies, which are operating like a cartel, because if they were genuinely in competition with each other, they wouldn't be exactly putting up the prices in exactly the same manner at exactly the same time. Now, James Gandolfini is nearly 3 years dead, but Tony Soprano is alive and well in the waste management industry. And I think we're going to see a lot of these issues arising because of the privatisation of an essential service. And I'll just use the opportunity to say this is what you get when you commodify the application of an essential service. And the collection of rubbish is essential to running any country. It was brought in the 1800s because of the widespread infestation of cholera in our cities. So we had a public waste management service. We now have a private waste management service. Illegal dumping is increasing, and with these costs will increase even further because people are pinned to the collar just to have their bins collected.
Deputy,
this is outrageous. It must be illegal, and I think we do need a waste management subcommittee to look at this, and indeed to look at the building of incinerators that is planned both in Poolbeg and in Cork. But this issue, Taoiseach, is pressing, and we need to deal with it. Somebody needs to grab these companies, bring them in and say, you cannot bring in a 200 and a 300% cost increase on something that is essential to people being able to live. Otherwise, illegal dumping will increase, and it will be the local authorities who will pick up the tab for that, not the private companies who are making the profit. And this is why we will argue that we need to rescind the section of the Waste Management Act that allowed the privatisation of waste management. We should bring it back into public control and ensure that even if it is paid for, that it is monitored, that it is regulated, and that companies like this cannot behave in a Soprano-like fashion and do what they like with the bin service and charge people an arm and a leg. So I'd like you to comment on it, and I really sincerely would urge you to consider having a waste management subcommittee of the Cabinet, even for a period of time.
Well, waste management will be part of the discussions that will take place at Cabinet subcommittee meeting anyway, Ceann Comhairle. I don't have the details that Deputy Smith refers to, but perhaps with the indulgence of Ceann Comhairle, you might raise that as a topical issue and get a direct response from the minister directly. I know that the proposed extra charges for green bins by weight was reversed by Minister recently. So I think perhaps if you put in a direct question, Deputy Smith, or raise it as a topical issue, Minister would be happy to respond to you. And if you want to send me copies of the emails you have there, I'd be happy to receive them.
To question 8 and 9, or are there supplementaries? No. We proceed then, if you would, to questions 8 and 9, which are being taken together. Taoiseach, to respond. Questions 8 and 9, second group of questions. 8 and 9, I believe, are being taken together. Yes.